Hey, it's been a little while since I've gone over some unhinged text messages. I had the itch, so it's time to scratch it. The backstory to this fairy tale isn't your standard affair. This is two strangers that got stuck in an elevator for about an hour. He eventually asked for her number, and she gave it to him because he didn't give her any weird vibes, no heebie-jeebies. It wasn't like something out of that dog shit horror movie Devil with the elevator or anything. So they started talking through text, and it led to this alarming exchange. He said, "How are you doing today?" She says, "I'm good, thanks, just went for an early morning swim." And then he starts to show his hand a bit. "I'd love to see that. Can I tell you something?" And she's getting suspicious. She's a little on edge here. Yeah. I admit, I was nervous being confined to such a small space with a beautiful woman. And she goes, "Okay, I don't know what to say to that, lol." And he just continues like it's a war story. I feel like I can see him lighting up a cigar as he's saying these things. "The mind wanders. You're lucky you got trapped with a good guy." And she's confused, saying, "What does that even mean?" He was apparently super normal in the elevator, but now over text he's talking like he was Bruce Banner holding back the Hulk in that situation. Saying shit like the mind starts to wander with ellipses there just makes it sound like he was, stranded on an island, ran out of food, and was contemplating cannibalizing the other survivors there to keep himself alive. And he's like writing down the sailor's log. It's too much for me to bear right now. My mind, it starts to wander. I'm losing myself on this island. I'm going to slit the throat of the former captain and feed on his insides. Lord help us all." He continues, "Don't worry. I don't intend on harming you in any way." Which is a very reassuring thing to hear out of the blue. "Listen, ma'am, I'm not approaching you with violent intent. I want to make that clear right now. I know you may have had it in your head that I was going to kill you. I want to put your mind at ease. I was never even contemplating murder. Or rape, for that matter. I was simply explaining that any warm-blooded male would be tested in that situation." Dude's trying to explain this like he's John Madden here. Appreciate the breakdown though, Reddit mod. Any warm-blooded male would be tested in that situation? What do you think would have happened? Like the elevator malfunctions, you're stuck in there for a little bit, and what, he's just gonna turn into some kind of feral beast that's gonna be tearing her limb from limb like a wild animal? Just the instant the elevator stops moving, just something goes awry in the male brain, and they turn into the Tasmanian devil, making like Jujutsu Kaisen cursed spirit sounds as they charge at the woman that's stuck in there with them. But luckily, she was trapped in there with a good guy. Not like those other red-blooded males or cold-blooded male. What did he say? Hemoglobin-blooded males? What? I've already fucking forgot. But he's just being chivalrous here and reminding her how lucky she was, all the stars aligned, to put her in the perfect position to be stuck on an elevator with a stranger that's as gentle and as nice as this guy, who had no intentions of harming her in any way whatsoever. She hits him with some question marks going, "I'm not following," because, this is all reading like a threat at the moment. And he says, "Don't worry," which is cause for concern, definitely going to start worrying. He says, "You have the perfect body. Those small breasts and soft, thick thighs leading to that voluptuous ass are delightful. Thank you for existing. Thank you for your service of pleasing my eyes in that elevator, madame. I tip my fedora to you on this good day." And she just says, "And now I shall cease to exist in your life. See ya." That was the correct decision there, just to block them and hopefully never see them again in your life. That's probably the safest thing to do, because this whole thing makes it sound like he was considering rape or something and then decided against it, how he had to fight against that urge that other warm-blooded males would have succumbed to or something. It's fucking weird. This guy is a weirdo. And here's another weirdo in a similar fashion where it's a complete stranger that just goes fucking insano style out of nowhere on someone else that is also still a stranger. These two are co-workers. They've been working together for about a week, and they play online games together in a group with other co-workers. So they're not friends or anything. They have barely known each other. He texts her saying, "Kaylee, we care about you. Care. Please answer. I'm so sorry. Please talk to me." Now, I want to be clear, this is one person saying this, so I don't know why he's saying, "we care about you." This is like some Schmeagle shit with my precious. We got Gollum coming in right now. And she says, "It's okay. I'm not mad." And he goes, "Please just talk to me. I cared about you. Still do. And she says, thanks, you too, dude. He continues to spiral. Why are you acting like that? I'm here for you. No matter what. Can we just talk on the phone? Just you and me? He's throwing up the desperate full court shot here to try and get the buzzer beater to win the game. I don't know what he would expect here. Obviously, she's not going to take that call. You don't know each other, and you're already being, like, obsessive. That was never in the cards. But let's assume she did. What were you planning on saying to her? Yes, milady, thank you so much for accepting my call. I love you. When can we fuck? Honestly, you're creeping me out. I've known you for 1 day at most. Stop. If that's how you see it, then fine. I really cared. I mean, that's how the world sees it. Like that's how time works. Like, you haven't known each other for long at all. It's like there's only one way of seeing it, and it's that you guys don't know each other at all. You're acting like we're best friends, and I've only known you for what, a week? This is extremely weird behavior that I won't deal with. It's okay. I'll find someone redacted. At least she's nice to me. Which is another one of their co-workers that he's now mentioning. Also, the poster here said that she mentioned to that co-worker that he name-dropped there about his weird behavior just to keep her in the loop, because this guy seems fucking unwell. And she replies, nah, what are you talking about? I was never interested in you. Okay, fair. She was way better. Nice, at least. I was so nice to you, and was even open to us. Which I don't really know what that means. Like, what does he, like, trauma dump on her while they're playing games together in ARAM? Like, I don't know. What does that mean? Open to us? Or, like, maybe he was open to being us, like a unit? A relationship, perhaps? Man, that's generous. He was even open to dating her. Wow, he really was such a fucking gentle sir. I can least admit that I cared at one point. I don't want to fucking fight. Neither does she. She doesn't want to talk to you. Like, in general. He's just making it sound like they're already in a relationship going through a problem, even though they are complete strangers to one another. I'm telling you to leave me alone, so leave me alone. And he just keeps saying, I cared about you, dude, like seriously. Everyone can tell you cared. You are obsessed. You are legitimately enamored with a complete stranger and being creepy about it. Everyone knows that's not something that's a good thing to be saying so much here. I will go to blank and report you. I don't fucking know you. I cared. It's weird pretending to be strangers, but honestly, fuck you. They can fire me. I have a better job for $26 an hour. That's how all of these go. You know what? I don't care. I never liked you anyway. You were gross and yucky anyway. You were poopy. You stink. Big stink. I don't like you anyway. You were lucky I was ever even talking to you. They can fire me. I have a better job anyway at $26 an hour. In fucking Narnia. My other job's so much better. Let them fire me. Tell them. Get me in trouble. I actually want it. So I can go to my other job full time and leave you behind. I'm happier there anyway. I cared. My only crime was I cared. I love how he says it's weird pretending to be strangers when they are strangers. She's not pretending. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. Not like the delusional thing that he's married himself to in his mind. They are strangers. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to talk about these because they had me giggling a little bit today. That's really about it. So yeah. Rejection never feels good, it always hurts, and rejection comes in many different shapes and sizes, many different forms of rejection. Maybe you're like me, 5'6", playing a pickup basketball game, driving down an open lane, about to get this easy layup only for it to be swatted last second by a 6'6" freak athlete. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's embarrassing, but it happens. Or maybe you're finally shooting your shot with this romantic interest you've had for a while, only to find out they're not interested and they turn you down. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, I won't pull the punches here. It sucks. It feels like shit. But learning how to handle rejection is a necessary part of life. So back to my basketball example, what do I do when my shot gets blocked? Well, I get tears in my eyes and come up with as many excuses as possible, and I try and call a foul if possible, so that way we can run that back. So it's not my fault, it's they played dirty. And what happens when you get rejected by a romantic interest? You move on. At least that's the healthy way of doing it. Let me show you 2 unhealthy ways of handling rejection. This girl and this guy were communicating under the impression that maybe this leads to a long-term relationship. That's the context going into these text messages, and it starts, I love it. Oh baby, I'll service you and your car from now on. Straight up Brazzers storyline type shit. And she responds, ha 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 ha. Let's go on a date before I get serviced.
I'll be there Saturday, lol. I'm actually staying the night there too. And then there's a lot of like redacted information here, like a CIA document, so I don't exactly know what was being said in between these, but she says, where do you live? Oh, okay, got it. So far, things seem to be going well enough. They're making plans. She says, do you have plans for when you're here? And he says, hopefully just you, but no plans other than that. Just needed a breather from my son. I'm going to book a hotel room tonight when my check hits. Which is starting to give off a bit of a weird vibe there. She says, oh, how old is your son? 13. And then he says, maybe you could stay the night. She responds, I don't do that the first night, I'm sorry. And he goes, I don't mean all night, lol. And she's as confused as everyone else would be. So she says, ha 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 ha. What? You said stay the night. I meant like hang out at the room after dinner. Maybe cuddle up. I'm a huge fan of cuddles and the best in the world at giving full body massages. I highly doubt that. I'm going to need some citation for that. I don't believe you. That's not what I usually do after first dates. I just don't think we're on the same page with dating. That's totally okay, just not a match. So she's taking this in stride, she's like, hey, is what it is. And then he keeps going. Exceptions could be made. What? Lol, what do you mean? I mean dinner, hang out, and eat between your legs like a Sunday lunch buffet after dinner. Lol. Clap them cheeks too. So she's very gently saying no to this guy. And this is the approach that a lot of dudes take with the car salesman type shit. Don't take no for an answer. So he continues to just keep pushing like, no. What if I, the world's best full body masseuse, give you a happy ending? Where I eat your pussy like corn on the cob. I'll chew on your clit till it bleeds and I bust. How about then? How about that? How does that sound? I'll even clap your cheeks too. As a little added bonus on top of my service. So, when are you coming over? Are you out the door yet? Unsurprisingly, this last-ditch effort didn't work, she says, so you don't know how to listen, cool. Don't make exceptions for men who don't respect my boundaries. Fair enough. She said no, and he continued to be weird about it. It's a really fucked mentality to not accept a no and keep pushing. It's just creepy behavior that's never going to amount to anything positive ever. When someone declines something or tells you no to something, you should really accept that, respect that, and just move on. It's not like you're gonna change their mind by being an annoying pest about it. Like, oh wait, what? Rejection? Wait a minute. You're not thinking this through. What if I clapped your cheeks? You failed to think about that, didn't you? Yeah. So if I clapped your cheeks, now I assume you won't be rejecting me? What do you mean you're calling the police? This one's a masterclass on how to respond to rejection like an unhinged lunatic, so this one's getting extremely angry when getting told no. I don't know what the conversation is here. These two had met on like a dating app and they were talking. He says Mario, so perhaps the question was, who was Luigi trying to save in Luigi's Mansion? I don't know, maybe they were playing a trivia game. She says, okay. She doesn't seem super enthusiastic about that response, so maybe she's not a fan of the Super Mario Brothers. Who knows? But anyway, he says, how was the mall? Get anything good? She says, no, I didn't look. I was just returning something. And then she sends a picture of herself in an outfit. And he goes, oh, that looks really good. Gotta get you some lingerie. Admittedly, I don't exactly know what happened in between the last text we just saw with him flirting and then these. He goes nuclear here. He goes full fucking scorched earth out of nowhere. So I'm thinking that there's some text messages that were exchanged in between these two, so we're just missing an entire chapter of this anime arc that he goes on to reach the villain status. So she says, I don't want to drive to blank for blank, I don't have enough gas. And according to the context she provided, they had apparently had a date scheduled, but she had to cancel last minute because of something school related, and now she was texting him back just to talk today. And there must have been something in between him saying, we gotta get you some lingerie and this. I just don't know what it could be. Maybe he invited her, like, to another place, and she just said, no, I don't have gas for that. But anyway, he responds, oh, alright, that's cool then. Didn't know all that, lol. You said you had some school stuff the other day. Now is gas, lol. You dirty, fat, sloppy, broke piece of shit. You got no gas, but got gas to go to the mall window shopping, lol. Thanks for making my morning, lol. And she just responds, lol. He just desperately tried to spam as much hurtful shit as he could think of quickly, like in a League of Legends game when you get mad that your bottom lane's feeding or something. How else are you going to respond besides just laughing at this pathetic tantrum? So she hits him with a lol, which only sets him off even further, so he sends her picture back to her in order to keep insulting her. Yeah, this shit is funny, lol. Fat ass bitch, you pushing what, almost 190, 200? I almost find it fascinating how anytime one of these weirdos gets their feelings hurt, they always resort to just like, well, you're fat anyway. You're fat. Like, it always comes down to that. The second that they get rejected or told no or something's not going swimmingly in their eyes, less than satisfactory, they always default to fatty, that kind of shit, and then just go on this, like, long-winded rant about, like, actually, I'm the nicest guy the world's ever known, and I was doing you a favor by showing interest. You're fat at the end of the day. That's the big... I didn't want you anyway. I'm not crying, you're crying. This one's just a little bonus, a cherry on top of the rejection cake. It's not exactly rejection per se, it's kind of adjacent. So this is somebody's ex who just texted her out of the blue. He says, "You dead yet?" That 4:22 a.m. crack pipe's hitting a little different today, so he gets bold and brash and says, "You dead yet?" to her. And he doesn't get a response right away, so then tries to get a little more edgy. And then says, "I'm going to fuck on top of your grave and smear dog shit on your tombstone." And this does get a response from her. She just says, "Get a hold of yourself." That line from her made me giggle so hard I had to throw this in here. You have this unhinged weirdo texting at 4:20 a.m. asking if you're dead and then saying that he's gonna smear dog shit on your grave while having sex on top of it. There's so many logical inconsistencies with that. A, who's going to agree to have sex at a cemetery on top of a gravestone? That's just guaranteed to get some, like, demons and spirits haunting you for life. And B, why would you bring dog shit with you to have sex? Even if you found a willing participant here, I feel like if you brought a bag of dog poop with you, that's immediately going to ruin the mood and you probably won't be having sex. Like, this just doesn't make any sense. This guy's spitting a bunch of nonsense here, a bunch of mumbo-jumbo. And she just immediately calls him out on it, saying, just get a hold of yourself, you weirdo. It's so good. I just had to include that in here. Again, it's not exactly rejection per se. Like, it's not in line with the other two, but it's just something that I had to toss in. That's really about it. See ya. Normally when I cover text messages, it's about really creepy guys doing unhinged things to women through texts or videos, whatever. Today's a little different. This is only like the second time I've covered a story like this, where a guy encountered a woman, and it was very different dynamic of things that happened. However, what I want to talk about here is actually the way that this guy handles the situation, because I actually think it's a masterclass in how to communicate effectively. I'll bring you up to speed on the lore that lead to these text messages. The original poster here on Reddit is a man who has been talking to a woman for a couple of hours, and then he receives these messages. "Hi. I've been thinking about you all evening and can't get you out of my mind, handsome. I know it's a little early to say this, but I have such a special feeling about you." And he goes, "Oh wow, that's really nice of you to say. I appreciate that so much." She says, "You're welcome. While you've been away, I even told my mom and my friends about you. It truly takes a rare kind of guy for me to be able to say those things so quickly about. I feel so lucky and honored that the stars aligned to have us match when we did. You feel too good to be true, and I want you to know that." And he's blushing here like an anime character. Oh gosh, wow. Gee willikers, goodness gracious. That's super nice. Thank you. Out of curiosity, what is it about me that stands out to you? So, again, they have only been talking for a couple hours in total, and she's already basically planning their wedding. She's telling all of her friends, her family about this guy, despite not knowing shit about him. Prior to this, they had only talked about their pets. At least that's what he said, mainly their pets. So this is a lot to take in here. She's basically creating this Hallmark movie out of nothing. Off rip. We only started talking a couple hours ago and only shared a few texts back and forth so far. So I'm honestly just curious what caught your attention about me, because that's very, very sweet of you. This may sound crazy, but call it a sixth sense if you will. I can read people like a book, and I already feel like you, I've known you forever. I don't know if you believe in past lives or not, but if stuff like that exists, I had a weird feeling about 30 minutes ago that we knew each other in a past life, and I have to get to the bottom of where and how. Damn, that's really crazy. It really is, though. Thank you for finding your way to me. And he just goes, haha, you're welcome. When asked what about him exactly drew her to feel so strongly about him so quickly,
She says that it was a sixth sense. Basically, it's her superpower. She's one of the Avengers, and she has the ability to find her soulmate after only communicating with them for a couple of hours. She's like a vibe sorceress. She's able to pick up on vibes and figure out who's got the best vibes for her, and falls in love very quickly. Nothing here seems malicious, and in a vacuum, it's pretty sweet messages. But these are messages you'd expect from someone that you are actively dating or someone you have known for a long time and are progressing to that stage. This isn't something that you would immediately dump on someone's plate after only knowing them for a couple of hours. That's a lot of food to digest there. That's a lot to put in your pipe and smoke here. There's a lot happening way too quickly. I hope you don't think I'm crazy. I don't normally say stuff like this to guys, but there's something different here, almost like spiritual energy. I've been waiting for my soulmate for years and kept getting led astray by the wrong people, and now I think I know why. We have to meet ASAP. I'm so fucking excited to see what out energy in person is like. If it's this intense over text, I can't imagine how incredible IRL our dynamic will be. She's definitely seeing these text messages through a different lens here, because I'm not picking up on any type of electric energy. I'm not getting butterflies in my tummy just reading it. I'm not getting the tingles. This is two very different levels of intensity and excitement. She's out here full of jubilation, like she just won the lottery. Meanwhile, the guy's energy is the same excitement you get over finding an extra chicken nugget in your 8-piece box. Like, it's very different. But he still says, when are you free? I'd love to meet tomorrow, but I have therapy late afternoon and then work at night. So how about the day after? That would probably work. I can let you know for sure by tomorrow at some point. How about I take you to dinner? I would love that. I'm so looking forward to the first meeting in our beautiful story, handsome. Aw, lol. You're so sweet. I have to go to bed now for work tomorrow morning, but let's talk more tomorrow. Absolutely. Sweet dreams, sweetheart, and you'll be in my dreams. He says, sweet dreams. I hope you have a good night's rest. The next morning rolls around and it's a totally different ball game, sports fans. Good morning. How's your morning going? She says, good morning. Fine, and yours? He's the one with a lot of energy now. Great so far. You hitting him with the Tony the Tiger? Great. Just had a meeting with my boss and got some pretty positive feedback, so I'm pretty happy about that. And she just one-words him. Gotcha. He immediately picks up on the tonal shift here and says, is everything okay, lol? Yeah. Why do you ask? Because you're being more short than you were yesterday, which is fine. I'm just trying to see if you're okay and if you need anything. This guy seems like an actual sweetheart, but this guy seems like a fucking peach. This guy seems legitimately like a nice person. And she goes, I appreciate that. Well, to be honest, I was in my feels this morning when I woke up to no good morning text from you. That's an odd thing to expect from someone who is legitimately still a stranger to you, but even still, he apologizes, saying, oh, I'm sorry, I woke up later and had to rush to work. As soon as I got to work, I had the meeting with my boss and then immediately texted you after the meeting was over. I'm really sorry for the misunderstanding. Yeah, it's cool. I just thought you were perfect for me and then this happens. And he's as confused as every other person on the planet would be. He says, I'm confused. Did I do something wrong? It's still pretty early in the morning. It's not like I went most or even half of the day without texting you. She then says, love is about prioritizing other person and you clearly prioritize your job and your boss over me. I'm going to let that ruminate for a moment. I'm going to let you go ahead and marinate in that text for a second. And now we'll proceed. He says, you could have sent a good morning text to me too, you know. Let's just pause there. Love is about prioritizing other person and you clearly prioritize your job and your boss over me. Yes, as he should. You are a stranger. What do you expect him to do? March in there up to his boss, spit in his face and be like, I quit. I'm going to go travel the world with this girl I talked to last night. We're going to go around the world in a hot air balloon, damn it. And you can't stop me anymore. I don't need this job. I'm out. What an extraordinarily selfish and downright evil thing to ask of a partner. Especially one that's not even your partner. This is, again, a mysterious stranger to you. They haven't even met yet. I hopped on Apex Legends on stream the other night and ended up queuing with a random squad mate in 3 consecutive games. I knew more about that motherfucker through him just on the open mic than these two know about each other. And it's not like I'd send him a good morning text, but like she's making this huge issue about not receiving a good morning text in a timely enough fashion for her expectations. He still sent a good morning text, mind you, when he didn't need to, since again, they're not dating and they really don't even know each other at all, but he still sent one. It just wasn't fast enough for her, and that right now is a massive problem to her. That is shocking. Why does it automatically have to be me going first? Plus, to be honest, we barely know one another. I don't think it's fair that there are already these expectations. Super reasonable from him. And he's right, if it really is a huge deal to her, she could have been the one to send the good morning text, and then he would have known and been able to respond when he could. She then says, "Dude, you are the man here. You're supposed to be winning my heart. That's your role. I don't want to chase someone. I deserve someone who will romance me and win me over. Waiting to text me until you get to the office shows your priorities are not what I thought they were." What the fuck? What are you talking about? He's already won your heart over by just existing, it seems like, since you... Oh, I'm farting. Yeah, that's how much I think of that statement. I rest my case. I'll let my asshole do the talking on that one. Not much more needs to be said there. He then responds, "I'm sorry, but this is crazy. We are practically strangers and you're already making demands. I do romance whoever I'm pursuing. I'm a very romantic guy. I did text you early this morning, but because it wasn't done exactly the way you think it should be, I'm a bad guy." She then goes on to explain that she doesn't think he's a bad guy, but just doesn't like that he doesn't feel the same way about her as she does to him. She then also explains that the therapist she sees is for her borderline personality disorder, and she explains how that relates to what they've been talking through. And that made a lot of sense when I read that with the way she was acting throughout these text messages. And that is a very real struggle that I always have a lot of sympathy for, and I'm always wishing the best for people going through BPD. It's great that she's trying to get help through therapy, and I'm wishing the absolute best for her with that. What I want to talk about here, though, is how he handles this whole situation. Even before knowing about her BPD, which obviously he didn't since they are completely strangers to each other, he was still being very respectful and communicating effectively. He wasn't being combative or aggressive. He was being a very wholesome individual, and this is just an unfortunate set of circumstances. He responds by saying that he appreciates her sharing her vulnerability, and then says, "Do you mind if I share something that's bothering me a little bit?" And she says, "Yes, please do. I want to know how you feel so badly. Please open up to me." "Well, I'm a little scared that you're already using the word love in regards to us. We are still basically strangers and have been texting for less than 24 hours. And she just says, "Kay, should have known you weren't special after all. You're a normie, a basic bitch if you will. Normies don't understand or appreciate love. They will never know what we do." He says, "Who is we?" She says, "Empaths. I am an empath and feel things more strongly and deeply than regular people, something you clearly don't appreciate and take for granted. One day someone will see my gift and cherish it." He says, "I mean, I wanted to take you on a date. If it went well and we were compatible after a while, I was definitely interested in a serious committed relationship, but I do have to meet someone first to know that and hang out a bit first before I make that commitment," which again is a totally understandable thing. And she says, "Fuck off, bro. You're disgusting. I can't believe I ever saw something in you. You are not the one. You're just another schmuck in a long string of disappointments." Schmuck is a word I haven't heard since the Stone Ages, and I really appreciate that she dusted it off for this message. Schmuck is something that used to make me giggle every time I heard it when I was a kid. "I deserve better. Fuck you. You thought I loved you, but I don't, bitch. Don't ever contact me again. We are over. I never loved you. You lost the best girl. You'll never meet someone like me again because you're a normie who can't see or identify a gym. We are not the same. Love is not a lie. You were. You're the problem. Don't contact me again, basic bitch. You repulse me. Bye, loser." It's actually very sad reading these things. Like, this isn't your normal r/nice guy blow up moment where a dude pretends to be a nice person just to try and get laid, and when he doesn't get pussy out of it, he has a meltdown like, I don't love you, you're fat and ugly, and no one would ever love you. I'm the nicest guy you'll ever meet, and you just blew it with me, the alpha male. Fuck you. Get out of town, scram, swine. Like, this isn't one of those moments. It's not her fault she has BPD. But she's clearly not ready for a real relationship right now. She's going to need to continue to get help. Her having BPD doesn't make this hurt any less for the guy who just received this. He's done nothing wrong. And I actually think he is a great example of how to communicate softly, respectfully, and just being a pretty good example of like how to just be a normal person when interacting with somebody else. He also mentioned that he is still currently receiving text messages from her that continue to get scarier and more extreme, which is unfortunate to hear. It definitely sounds like she needs help with this to come up with more effective ways of dealing with her BPD, and hopefully she finds that help she needs. But I thought this was worth sharing, and yeah, that's really about it. See ya. Over the last couple of months, I've analyzed more text messages than the FBI. I have been glued to bad romance and flirting like a moth to a flame. I've been wandering the deepest, darkest pits of filth. It's like in Space Jam when Michael Jordan gets sucked into the golfing hole. I've been sucked into the asshole of the internet, and all I see is cringe down here. But today there's a new ingredient being added to this concoction. The recipe had a chemical X. Crime. This got posted to Reddit earlier today, and a lot of people sent it my way, and it actually reminded me of a real criminal case that happened back in 2022, and I actually found the case again through the comment section of this post, because I couldn't quite recall all the particulars of it, but there is a lot of similarities shared between that criminal case in 2022 and these text messages that this individual is showcasing here. So it starts with this girl's coworker messaging her out of the blue saying, "Hey." He receives crickets, no response, silence. And you know what they say, if at first you don't succeed, try being weirder. So he comes back around within 3 hours saying, "Hello? Is this blank?" She says, "Who is this?" And he goes, It's me," with a smiley face. "I just wanted to text you and see how things were." "Oh, things are going alright, I suppose. Not to come off as rude, but how did you get my number, dude? I mean, I don't mind you texting me, but I've never gave it to you." And that's when he lifts up the curtain and breaks the magician's code, revealing his secret method. "I just grabbed it off the contact sheet in the office room. Hope that's alright." To which she says nothing in response because that is fucking creepy. She never gave him her number. He just went out of his way to find it from their workplace. Yucky. But he comes back around saying, "How's it going?" And he just keeps going, throwing questions at the wind here, hoping to receive even the slightest semblance of life on the other side, not realizing that he has already scared her by snooping around tracking down her phone number without ever getting it from her directly. So it's already super creepy to do that. So he says, "How was your New Year's?" No response. 2 days later. "Sorry to keep texting, but what are you up to today? If you're free later, I'd love to go out." I will never understand that kind of shit right there. How can you be so deluded and lost in your own little fantasy land Narnia that you think there's even an iota of a chance that she agrees to go out with you when she has ignored your messages for 4 fucking days? Like, what is the thought process? Scratching at his chin. Maybe she's playing hard to get. Perhaps she's just been truly swamped and has been really wanting to reply to me but just might be a bit shy and doesn't know how. I know. I'll go ahead and invite her out with me. That should make her a lot more comfortable. And he goes a bit deeper. "I know you're probably busy, but I could pick you up too, so you wouldn't have to take the bus anywhere. If you wanted to go out, that is. Sorry to keep texting, but I don't want to be out too late, so I'd appreciate a response at some point, smiley. I'm heading out to get coffee now, so if you want to join me, just let me know." "Ma'am, you better hurry. The choo-choo train is leaving and Mr. Perfect is going with it. You only have one opportunity to get coffee with a gentle sir like this, so you really gotta play your cards right." She declines, saying, "I would appreciate it if you didn't text me unless it's work-related. I don't really know you, and I'm only blank. You're 5 years older than me, dude. This just feels creepy." "I didn't mean to be creepy or anything. You're just pretty, and I thought it would be cool if we got to hang out, smiley." "No thanks. That's honestly so weird, and if you continue to ask, I'm going to talk to Lean about this." I'm assuming that's like their supervisor or someone higher up at the place they work. And then he goes in deep. He says, "I'm not gonna lie. I've been thinking about you a lot, and I just want you to spend time with me. What you said the other day just felt rude. At least try and give this a chance. I know you're probably not awake, but I've been up all night thinking about you. Not going to lie, sometimes I like to take pictures of your ass while you're in the drive-thru window and I jerk off to them in the bathroom." I'll go ahead and take a courtesy pause here to give everyone a brief respite and let that nugget marinate in this sauce here because he just dropped a real heavy, spicy meatball on the plate. And when I first read it, I certainly wasn't ready for that because that's just openly admitting to a crime. I'm not a sheriff or anything, but I'm pretty confident that that's illegal. He'd probably be taken away in handcuffs if this information got out, which it should. She should absolutely report all of this. Now, somehow it actually only gets worse from here. This is just the beginning. He's showing his true face, and man oh man, is it an extraordinarily ugly one. I know that's messed up, but imagine if we fucked in the work bathroom, or if we went out in public. I honestly just love the idea of having a little helpless bitch under my control. I know you're so much younger, but you should give it a shot. Older men can be so much fun to be with. No one at work would have to know. Hello? Sorry for calling, but I'm really lonely and you haven't replied to me at all. Since the text messages are going unanswered, I guess he's resorted to actually just calling her, which is also being ignored, obviously, because that's the safest thing you can do is ignore it. So I can't believe the revelation that it turns out he's lonely. Who would have seen that coming? With smooth talking like this dude's got all the game in the world. This man's a fucking apex predator, a grizzly bear, a champion of Riz here. I can't believe that he, of all people, would somehow be lonely. What a curveball. He then tries to brush all that under the rug, trying to apologize for it. Sorry about last night. I got carried away. I know you're probably not even reading these, but I hope you have a good day, Smiley. I'll be thinking of you. I really don't see an issue. It's not like a romantic date or anything. It would just be getting coffee and food. And if you were in the mood, we could always go to my place to watch a movie. I know it sounds creepy, but why not just get out and enjoy the day together? What in the hell is even that? What are you talking about? It's not like a romantic thing or anything. You were just talking about fucking in the workplace bathroom. And then you were talking about having a helpless bitch under your control. What do you mean it's just coffee? You're already showing how extraordinarily creepy and perverse you are. What are you yapping about? He's blabbermouthing about a bunch of hooey. And that's when she finally does respond to all this and says, "Alright man, I'm probably going to report you to the police. You know damn well that I'm underage and you're texting me in the middle of the night like that. Fuck off." And then he drops her address and says, "If you continue to ignore me, I'll just make it so you can't. If you tell anyone, I'll make this even worse for you." So it turns out she's underage, and he was well aware of that fact. And he also would have been even more aware of that fact, considering he snooped through the confidential workplace documents to find her address and her phone number. So it would have been abundantly clear that she is underage, and he didn't care. He still went for this full throttle. So he's also a pedophile on top of all of this. Now, he concludes their conversation by dropping her address to obviously try and scare her, letting her know that he knows where she lives and he can always pay her a visit. And a lot of people in the comments, and I think a lot of people in general, would assume that that's just supposed to be like some kind of scare tactic to get her to not say anything. Not necessarily that he's going over there right this instant to do something, but that is still a legitimate threat, and I imagine an actionable threat that the authorities can use. This is one of those situations that really shouldn't be taken lightly, and it seems like it isn't. It seems like she's taken the proper measures here, like contacting authorities or contacting workplace staff and all that, which is what she should be doing, because this is just legitimately dangerous. I mentioned at the start that it reminded me of a case from 2022 where a man killed his 17-year-old coworker because he had a huge crush on her, and since he couldn't have her, nobody could. Her name was Riley Whitelaw, and she was murdered at her place of work by this individual. He recently got sentenced in October of 2023 for the murder, and it is just horrifying. Now, Riley had previously made a complaint to the employment about how uncomfortable he made her with like the advances that he would make on her and all of that, and even asked to like have her schedule changed so they wouldn't have to work together. And despite all of that, they still worked together. The place of employment did not change her schedule around to get her away from him or anything like that. They continued to work together despite all of her complaints until it eventually culminated with him killing her. It's a tragic story. Fucking horrifying. And it reminds me of the text messages we just read right there, where a coworker becomes infatuated with someone and then eventually does something disgusting like that. So reading through these text messages, it is a concerning individual in a scary situation. And it's something I think about from time to time about how awful it must be to just be doing your job, doing nothing wrong at all, and then still ending up in a situation like this. This girl never made any advances toward this guy. She never even gave him her number or anything at all, and yet somehow he still became obsessed with her and then stalked her company documents to find her phone number and her address and all of that. It's just so awful. She's literally just doing her job and then gets put in a situation like this because of this absolute lunatic. So yeah, just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I think situations like these should always be taken seriously. Like if a coworker or anyone for that matter starts to get like a level of obsession with you that it becomes a bit palpable, that you can start to see it, it immediately needs to be something that you take very seriously because you never know where it could lead. And I think that is just always something that needs to be handled with real care. So just wanted to go over this a little bit. That's really it. So yeah. Last night I had a little trouble falling asleep. I think what I needed was a good bedtime story. So I turned to Reddit, just cruising around, perusing, see if I could find anything that'd give me the yawns and help me go night-night. But I found something extraordinary. Something so stimulating I stopped any attempt at going to sleep and I just sat there bewildered by what I had just read. For at least 40 minutes, I just sat in silence, truly stunned, like a child who had just watched his first episode of Chris Angel's Mind Freak. My brain was blown out my ass. I couldn't imagine a world where this was real, but all of the evidence pointed to it being a genuinely true story. I did eventually hit the hay, and now, a full 9 hours later, I'm still thinking about this, so I figured, why not share it with all of you? Perhaps this will have a profound effect on your life, or maybe it'll do something to help motivate you to not be like the guy in this story. It's a series of text messages between a man and a woman. And that's all I'll tell you for now. I don't want to get in any spoilers. I want you to come into this as unsuspecting as possible. Let's dive in. Previously on Dragon Ball Z, the two people in this text conversation were close friends for about 9 years. The Reddit poster is the woman in this story, and her male friend here had recently professed his love for her in a pretty creepy way. The feeling wasn't mutual, so it led to a bit of a disconnect between the two of them, and in an act of desperation, the male friend calls in the Cringe artillery and starts bombarding her with memes, to which she finally responds, "Hey, I appreciate the memes." Real quick, I'd like to come in here with a PSA. I recognize that in the current climate of things, there's a lot of people that have lived their entire lives online without any actual social interaction, so I want this to be a teachable moment. Don't send memes as some kind of last-ditch Hail Mary. Like, if you let something rip and it's not reciprocated, spamming memes isn't going to salvage the situation, it's only going to make it worse and even weirder. Her saying, "I appreciate the memes," is just a lie. No one's ever going to say that. Those words have probably not left a human being's mouth ever. "Ah, good morrow, sailor. I really appreciate the exquisite memes you've shared with me today. I was a little perturbed with our last conversation, but now that you've sent 1,000 memes, I see you've got a good heart. Thank you for this." And I'm speaking from experience here. I'm very knowledgeable in this field. I'm the authority on this matter. I've told this story before, but I'll just briefly repeat it. The very first girl I was ever flirting with and exchanging text messages with was back in high school, and she did not feel the same way about me as I did her. And in my weakest moments, I turned to the dark side and consulted the Sith Lords, and was advised to try and maybe send goofy memes and ASCII art, because that was big back in the day. So I did. And guess what? It didn't fucking solve anything. It just made it even worse. I know how uncomfortable that must have been for her. So yeah, that is not the right play, to just start spamming memes and shit. But anyway, she continues the message by saying that she's only ever thought of him as a close friend and never really viewed him in a romantic way. So when he professed her love, it made things a little weird. They grew distant, they grew a bit hostile, but she thinks they can be friends again just as long as it's very clear that there is no romantic feelings in this relationship. She's just laying down the brass tacks and making things very clear, to which he responds, "I certainly had my head on backwards, but as my friend, I really think you're fucking adorable, and every trip I've ever taken with you is so fucking precious. I've heard of a Japanese word called shibumi, and it's basically authority without dominance. Call me a simp, but I really think you have that." Code red, he's not taking no for an answer. Jinkies, we're going too deep. He just busted out shibumi. Jesus Christ. We're in the in-game now. Lord help us. He continues to spaghetti dump here for the novel that he's writing her. There's steam coming off of the touchscreen pad as he's writing. The most important takeaway here is a very specific line, a buzzword that gets dropped that I think is very important that we highlight. He says, "Sometimes it feels like my chivalrous interest with you is underappreciated or just unappreciated sometimes." The reason I point that out is because I'm pretty confident that the word chivalry is used exclusively by creeps. I don't think there's been a documented case of a normal person saying chivalry, especially not in this context. It's just like an immediate red flag word to drop, especially when saying that my chivalrous interest is underappreciated, it's not valued enough. It's just some certified weirdo Redditor energy, like tipping the hat, "M'lady, it's no problem, you're welcome for holding the door open for you. Chivalry isn't dead, am I right?" I'm the perfect example. No, of course, I'm just kidding. I jest. Chivalry can't die, because to die, it would imply that it was ever alive in the first place. Only a living thing can experience death, and chivalry is not a living thing. It's an idea, more of a social code, per se. He continues on, and then eventually tells her that she should like one of them so he doesn't feel crazy, to which she says, "You're not crazy, I just need some time to think." Which I think is a perfectly reasonable response to all of this, but he gives her no time to think and immediately just comes back to, please, let me find favor in your eyes. I'm assuming he heard that in some kind of like indie song at some point, so he tried to throw that in here to see if it'd work. So he's going full-blown Robert Frost now, even then drops a picture saying, "Daydream with me," and it's like the sun rising. So it's getting very emotional in here. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because it's him once again just begging for any kind of reciprocation, to which she just keeps saying she just needs some time to process all of this. But he's extremely impatient. His foot is fully on the gas and there's no turning back now. He is full throttle invested in all of this. He's using every possible cliche line imaginable, but he's not finding any favor in her eyes. It just keeps going. "You're valid, never really heard the extent of why I'm your friend," so now he's like interrogating her. "Why am I your buddy? Why am I your pal, huh? Tell me. I could tell you all day why you're my friend. Your voice is fucking music. I think you're brilliant. Just a brilliant person to be around. Really wish I could hug you. Fuck, this hurts." Then again, she reiterates, "I need time to think. I will reach out when I'm ready." And now we've finally gotten past the introduction here and we're entering the climax. Welcome to the wacky zone. He once again gives her no time to reach out or process any of this. He reaches out pretty soon after everything, only a couple of days, and says, "So is there any chance as your friend I could send you something explicit?" She says, "What do you mean?" And then he goes, "NSFW," which I'm sure all of you know what that means, but I'll break it down anyway. Not safe for work. Of course, she wasn't expecting this curveball, so she says, "Are you trying to make a joke right now?" And then he goes, "No, kind of a gamble." I will say this is a historic moment. You are witnessing the worst gamble in history. Congratulations, we all got to be a part of this. This is, by far, the absolute worst possible fucking gamble you could ever make. This is like betting 100% of your life savings on me getting taller. What the fuck are you, I don't understand how you think an out of nowhere nudie is going to somehow win her over and somehow solve all of these problems. I just can't even understand that mindset, really. It just doesn't compute. Okay, I tried all the lovey-dovey, really mushy-gushy stuff with the favor in your eyes, your voice is like magic or music. It didn't work. So let's try something a little more primal. Wiener. What about penis? Eureka! This might be the answer. Let's try it. She's once again just trying to make sure she fully understands the lunacy going on here, so she says, "Are you asking me if you can send me something sexually explicit? Respectfully." What a gentleman. A fedora tip to you, my gentle sir. That is sophisticated. Very respectful. "M'lady, doth thou wish to gaze upon my meat?" And then he sends her a dick pic with his pinky out while holding it. An incredibly interesting play here, as if somehow his cock was going to hypnotize her and make her fall in love with him. So she eventually responds by pointing out how weird this whole interaction has become. She still only ever viewed them as friends and will only ever view him as a friend. and that she's very disappointed that he can't even respect that she wants some time to herself to process this entire weird interaction. She also drops a bombshell at the end by mentioning that she's currently in a relationship, so that was a big plot twist. This goober is doing all of this to a girl who is not interested and also in a relationship. The odds couldn't be more against him. Now, she used a word at the end that's about to change the entire course of this interaction. She said, "It sucked when you went all incel on me towards the end." That word, I had a big voice crack there, that's how powerful that word is. That one word ruffled this guy's feathers so much. You're about to see a full-blown ballistic breakdown from it. I respect that. Also, if I'm an incel, you're toxic, so let's not name call. She's toxic because she doesn't want to fuck him. Why is that even in your argument, that I can't get someone? I can. You choose not to. That's fair, but you didn't get to call me an incel because you decline. You go out of your way to say it. Why is that? Label me as anything else, like, for real. It's foolish for you to argue something like that. She gets taken off guard here, saying like, "Hey, whoa, pump the brakes, Buster. I didn't mean to offend you." She says, "I never said you couldn't get someone. What do you mean?" She never said that. Like, he is now just projecting some insecurities and reading between the lines on shit that doesn't exist. She just said his behavior was that of like an incel or something. And he keeps going. "You should know I'm anything but a little dick incel, so out of here with that shit." Again, she never even pointed out your penis or anything. She didn't call it small. Like, where is this coming from? He's fighting ghosts. I'm not even gonna pretend that's valid. You're with a fucking beta cuck to begin with. Maybe that's your type, and maybe that's why we aren't together. Have fun with that. The mask has come off. He is unchained, unhinged, and unhappy. Your boyfriend's a beta cuck loser. That's the only reason you and I aren't together, because that's what you're into, beta cucks. You couldn't handle an alpha male testosterone titan like me, a real man who cries while he texts. She then goes on to say, like, look, if you find me to be toxic and all of this awful stuff, like, okay, then, you know, you shouldn't be upset that we're not close anymore. And to this big message, he just responds by saying, "I'll see you in hell." And then she says r/nice guys, which this very much is an r/nice guys moment. You know, keep in mind, this is still only a couple days after the whole poetic, "Allow me to find favor in your eyes, miss. Your voice is music, sweet music." And now it's, "What an excellent take on a 7-year waste of my fucking time." To which she responds, "So you're just waiting around until I'd eventually date you? That's on you, man." She's absolutely right. That is entirely on you. This dude played the long game, almost an entire decade of pretending to be her friend in the hopes that eventually you'll get to fuck her, I guess was the plan. That is a long commitment to a deep cover operation to stay in disguise, faking friendship, hoping that eventually you'll be able to have sex with her. And then he says, "How was I supposed to know you're only interested in half men?" I've never even seen that term used before. This guy's pulling all kinds of Insano-style phrases out of his ass now. "I spent 7 years just waiting for you to notice the difference, but I guess I bet on the wrong fucking horse." This goober spent 7 years pretending to be her friend, hoping that somehow she'd fall in love with him? This is craziness. This is a longer time spent undercover than Rob Lucci and the gang during the Water 7 arc of One Piece. Like, this is outrageous how long he committed to this ridiculous, diabolical plan. And now he's just full anime villain mode. "I'm over you. That's why I asked if you needed a visual definition of the word endowed, because I bet you're never going to get that with the life you choose to live without me. Motherfucker, I grew this dick for you, you ungrateful clod." We have to pause here for a moment. Wow. "I grew this dick for you, you ungrateful clod." That is one of the most powerful sentences I've ever had the pleasure of reading. What does that even mean? That's not even possible. How could you have grown your penis for her? Was there no dick there to begin with, and then you just started, planting the seeds and then taking care of it like summertime gardening? Like, what does that mean, you grew it for her? Is it a laboratory experiment like the Cybermen? Like, I don't understand. It's just such a bafflingly amazing sentence. She's also stunned, saying, I refuse to believe that these messages aren't satire. And then that sets him off even further. This entire relationship is satire. A joke. Your interest in men is a joke. The wambulance is coming in hot. He's Squidward, you're Squidward, I'm Squidward, we're all Squidward. This whole relationship satire, it's all a joke, you're a joke. Fuck you. My interest in you is a joke. This is the first time I wanted to show someone my dick because I hate them. Fucking brilliant. r/nice guys, these nuts. She waits a while and then says, I think enough time has passed and I just genuinely want to know if you've had any remorse for the shit you said to me or if you truly believe it was all valid. And then he responds 7 hours later saying, let's find out if you're still seeing the Hat Man first. I don't know what that means, but then he comes back 2 hours later and said, I'm over you. You're wasting your time. So he's trying to flip this around on her like, you missed your opportunity with the golden goose. You missed your opportunity with the alpha. I've moved on, you harpy. I don't need you anymore, harlot. Listen, I've matured a lot. You clearly haven't. So you're wasting your time trying to talk to me now. You had your chance, you blew it. I'm sure you're kicking yourself now for this, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But then just to finish it off with the cherry on top, he quotes from before where he was offering to show her his wiener and says, I still mean this if you need clarification. And then comes back and says, except don't even bother asking for nudes. I have a girlfriend. Okay. I mean, this is quite the ride. What an adventure. She eventually just says, what's wrong with you? We were friends for almost a decade. And then you go into this shit. Which is a reasonable response. Like, how did this happen? We have been friends for like 10 years. We've known each other for so long. Where did this come from? It is crazy. This whole situation was wild. And also, I'm calling fiddlesticks on that last statement from him. I don't believe he has a girlfriend. If we go back to like chapter 7 of this meltdown, he said that she was the first girl he wanted to show his penis to. So, I'm under the impression he's a virgin. And I don't think enough time has passed between those messages and these that he would not only lose his virginity, but then also have a girlfriend, especially given all of the behavior we're seeing exhibited here. So, I think he lied about that. That was probably just once again some kind of Hail Mary to make her jealous. Like, hey, listen, Toots. Got a girlfriend. Stay off of me. Can't send you nudes anymore. You blew it. Nope, can't do it. Sorry. That's on you. Yeah, you'll regret this for the rest of your life, clearly. Sorry. Have a girlfriend. Even though it's most likely a lie. But yeah, that's all there is to the story here. Overall, I think we can all agree that nice guys really do finish last. It is insulting that these two didn't end up getting married. This guy is a real catch, and it's just a shame to see that it didn't pan out. But yeah, overall, dropping the sarcasm, I actually feel really bad for the woman in this situation here. This is someone who was a close friend to her for a fucking decade, only to then find out that close friend was actually just a complete piece of shit, loser, degenerate, who was only being her friend, trying to have sex with her down the line. I can't even imagine that kind of betrayal. That must have been fucking awful. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to share this because I've been thinking about it like all day. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. If you've got a full belly, prepare yourself because you might just puke upon seeing and listening to this unbelievable, embarrassing cringe. This is the worst flirting, the worst attempt at wooing a potential romantic interest I have ever seen. This is like playing a visual novel and then scaring away all of your potential love interests at once and getting the worst ending. Now, I'd like to give a bit of context here to the situation before we really dive into the meatballs from our spaghetti entree of cringe. A user on Twitter posted screenshots as well as videos from a random guy who had reached out to her on Facebook because he had seen her on a dating app. The two didn't even match, and I guess he must have assumed that it was some kind of glitch because they were destined to be lovers. It was fate that was pulling them together, but unfortunately technology had a malfunction, so he took matters into his own hands, tracked her down on Facebook, of which she had no connection to the dating app. She didn't connect any of her socials to the dating app, so he did some super sleuthing to find her on Facebook and reach out to her there to try and win her heart. And let's see how that went. Kelsey! I love that intro right there. It's straight out of Scary Movie, like that old commercial. What's up? He's coming at her like they're best friends from way back in the day. He then executes Order 66 and kills all potential for romance. He goes, okay, shit. Mayhaps that was a tad overly enthusiastic for a stranger danger message on a sunny Friday morning. There is so much quirk to the way that he texts that I'm getting uncomfortable. I can say with a high level of confidence that he is definitely in some kind of theater troupe because he is typing like he's acting out some kind of skit for a play. It's a little much here. My bad. Let's go with, I can explain. Fuck yeah, that works. Then drops a couple of emojis and then one of these bad boys. How she didn't immediately fall in love with this man is beyond me. This is aggressive. And it's already creepy because it's a complete stranger who saw her on a dating app and then tracked her down in order to, really directly communicate with her. So, let's go over where things went wrong here. I'll go ahead and get the playbook out like John Madden and say where everything fell apart for the offense. From the start, basically. There is nothing that's even remotely salvageable from what he tried to do here. There is nothing more annoying than texting like you're talking to yourself during the text. Like when you say something like, Kelsey, mayhaps that was a tad too far on a stranger danger sunny Friday afternoon. Goodness gracious, how do I save this? Like that is so fucking lame. That is shameful. That is just downright shameful. I am shocked he didn't drop like an asterisk nuzzles you, and then an asterisk, you there? Yeah, and then one of those emojis. So she said, sorry, do I know you? And then it reactivates this cringe protocol. He says, oh hey, no, we don't know each other. Sincere apologies for this subterfuge. Oh brother, this guy stinks. Dropping subterfuge here in your creepy approach to a stranger. If you give me the tiniest bit of room, I'd be happy to explain. I reckon that said explanation will bring laughs and smiles. P.S. Not trying to rope you into a pyramid scheme to sell fancy Tupperware. Yet. He's trying very hard to be self-aware, and when he starts sending his voice memos to her, he reiterates 1,000 times like, this is weird, you're probably gonna think I'm weird, and then just keeps doing it. He sends so many voice messages that go for a long, long time. It's making my voice crack because of how fucking embarrassing it is. And you want to know the wildest part? I'm getting ahead of myself, and it's a spoiler. He has done this to multiple women, apparently. Other women have come forward after this tweet and all of this, the receipts here and all that went viral, with other women showing their interactions with him, and he even uses like the exact same lines on other women, which is really odd considering that has to be a 0% success rate. These can't be working well at all. It's so weird. So she decides to play ball here and open Pandora's box to see what comes out. She says, explain away, and he gives a brief, cool guy thing. Oh god, I just spent 60 minutes singing to seniors and man am I drained. But fuck it, I can do this. He's hyping himself up in the text messages he is sending to this girl. It is so embarrassing, and he keeps doing it, but it gets worse because right after that, he sends a voice message.
Hey, Kelsey, how's it going? Don't mind me, I fucking hate texting. I think we're all better without it, so I usually use one of these when I can. Also, I don't know if you've ever seen that Key and Peele skit, but that's how I feel about texting. I could go on. Anyway, I just want you to know right off the bat, I fully accept how fucking weird this is. I'm sorry, but like I said, I think if you give me a second, you'll probably end up laughing, and not that you need my permission, but feel free to just laugh directly at me for being a fucking idiot, for I am surely about to embarrass myself right now.
I do appreciate your stamp of approval. I and everyone else will be laughing directly at you for this, and I appreciate that you recognize what an unbelievably weird thing it is to do. I don't know why you keep doing it. This is the first of many voice messages he sends, even after recognizing this immutable fact that it is weird and embarrassing.
And sorry for the delay. I was going to get back to you, but someone called about a gig tomorrow and I'm trying to help them find a musician. Also, I'm not sure if I'm fucking funny anymore. I just spent 60 minutes, like I said, playing guitar and singing to a room full of senior citizens, but the room was stuffy and hot. I had to do it with the surgical mask on, and I'm not sure if I have any funny or social energy left, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try and fake it right now. So thank you for your understanding and patience, and here goes nothing. I'm a fucking idiot. Enjoy.
He's actually treating this like it's some kind of movie audition. What are you talking about? I also I love that he immediately makes himself seem like super busy, like, hey, sorry for the delay. I know you were waiting on bated breath for my explanation, but I had to help very big musicians find a gig. You may have heard of them before. Bring Me the Horizon. I'm the lead singer. So I had a lot going on. I was double booked, so I had to give them a different band. You may have heard of them, Metallica. But anyway, let me go ahead and explain what's going on. I just finished one of my own gigs, in fact, so I'm a little drained, but don't be perturbed because I'm going to do my best to fake it. So stay tuned for part 2. It's coming right up. Like he's about to go through his stand-up comedy routine, which, you know, you don't want to miss.
In the trenches of online dating for a couple of years, so I definitely know how to identify the kind of person I'm like, if nothing else, the world would be better if we were friends. So hear me out. First of all, I never fucking see that shrug emoji. No one else uses it. It's typed into my phone. If I type shrug with 2 G's, it just shows up. Same thing on my laptop. Like, I'll use it in work emails. Fuck it. So right away, I'm like, interesting. I don't get it, though. She's cute. For how pretty she is, she should be boring. Why does she seem kind of strange in a good way?
That's a spectacular start right there. I was like, she's kind of pretty, so why isn't she like a fucking lobotomite boring dumbass? Like, she used an emoji that I really like. And she's pretty. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Pretty women can't have a personality, but you're like defying all of science right now. He just keeps going on about this fucking shrug emoji. He's talking about her bio on the dating site, and he just really fixates on that. That shrug emoji is like Cupid's arrow to this guy. He fell in love instantly when he saw it in her bio. I don't know why he thought it was a compliment to say that she's like strange and different in a good way because pretty women are like boring or whatever, insinuates that a pretty girl can't have a personality. I don't know what the thought process was with that approach, but it's definitely a bold play.
I think you said something about live music. My job is actually live music. I play guitar and sing. I do about 25 shows a month. I know it sounds made up. I feel like I invented the job. It's redonkulous, but I live very comfortably. Life is good. I do play at a lot of retirement homes, and it's great for my self-esteem, Kels, as I am a big hit with women over 80.
Time out. Technical foul here. He just dropped a redonkulous. He just said redonkulous. And then not only that, in his only second voice message here, he's already just calling her Kels. They're not even on like a first name basis. They're not acquaintances. These are 2 complete strangers, and he's already giving her like a nickname. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, and just the night before, I'd been talking to one of my best friends in the world, Roxy. Just people that like match you and they just write hey. So if someone writes hey, I just write hi. And if someone writes sup, I go nothing much, you. And like, people that match me and clearly haven't read my fucking bio, folks will match and be like, so what do you do for a living? I'm like, come on, Chelsea. Like, yeah, you're kind of cute, but I'm pretty damn sweet. Try harder.
Why are you even talking about this? You're like trauma dumping on this complete stranger right now that you've tracked down from a dating app to try and communicate directly with because you didn't match with her. What the fuck is this? Now you're just going on about like, dating apps are so weird. People just say like, hey. So then I'm like, hi. You don't know how to have a conversation. You didn't read the bio that I painstakingly typed up. I spent a long time on that bio and now I'm offended. Ridiculous. Redonkulous.
I don't know. It's just to see someone mention that in a bio, I'm like, thank you. I can see that you feel the same as me. If people, I always think that effort should match interest in dating. So if you're curious if someone's interested or not, remember that scene with Justin Long and What's-Her-Face in that movie about dating? Is it he's just not that into you? And he's like, if the guy's interested, he will call. And it's true. So I found a line a couple years ago and it's like, effort will always match interest. It will show you how interested someone is. And like, I'm pretty goddamn sweet. And I am not that lonely, bored, or horny. I'm not going to take breadcrumbs from someone if I want a sandwich. So if someone hits me with a hey or hi, you can go fuck yourself.
He's just sounding like a complete unhinged asshole here. It's not that deep. What do you mean they can just go fuck themselves? No one's even, like, what does this have to do with anything in this situation? This isn't even flirting. This is just blurting. He's just blurting out all of the most nonsensical shit in his head right now to a complete stranger. And not only that, this is probably not even his first take. I bet he recorded this like 10 times until he had one that was like, this is the one. This was smooth. And that's what we got here. We got the final product. This isn't even like the first draft, I doubt. That's mind-blowing.
I'm worth more. Damn it. This is where the Kelly Clarkson song comes in. Your bio is just, there was so much intentional effort put in. And honestly, the more I scroll down in the pics, I'm like, this does not match up. I don't want to sound like an asshole. Like, attractive people can also be interesting and funny, but it's just incredibly rare. I speak for myself, because I'd like to consider myself one of those.
That's the end of chapter 2 from the voice memos, but don't worry, there's still a finale, and it's the extended director's cut. The next one's over 5 minutes long. Also, he doubles down on this whole like, yeah, you're like pretty, but you have a personality, which that just does not happen. I don't know why he thinks that that's some kind of like grand compliment. It's very odd. Now, before playing the 5-minute, 30-second monologue here, he must have seen that she listened to it. He's like, gotcha! Yeah, I gotcha! Red-handed, you listen to it. Curiosity got the better of you. And then she says, dude, so you saw me on Bumble and found me on Facebook? How? Clearly very creeped out by it, understandably. And then he goes, oh, I honestly just typed in Kelsey and I guess I got lucky. I figured because you put live music we might have some friends in common or something. I blame Zuckerberg, and then laughing emoji. Which contradicts everything that he's said here, because he's constantly talking and referencing her bio, which I think is referring to her dating profile bio, especially because he does mention like online dating with Hayes and highs and shit. So I don't even know why he thought that would somehow save the situation. Like, she'd be fooled by it.
For the love of fuck, I was like 2 minutes into one, and it was awesome and funny, and I was so proud of it, and then someone called me again about a gig this evening, and it's like, you know that thing where your friends know you're busy or you're on a date or something, and then that's when they decide to call? Jesus Christ.
Excellent. Chef's kiss. This is how you start a romantic message. For the love of fuck. I was in the middle of something spectacular. You were gonna love it, Kels. You were gonna love it. Trust me. But then one of my fucking asshole friends called me about a gig because I'm so busy being a successful live musician. Can you believe that, Kels? Can you believe that? It's like those things, you know, where like we both go on dates, right? I go on dates. Clearly, you go on dates. And sometimes when you're just busy, people call. It's Jesus Christ.
But yeah, no, your bio was just the fucking bee's knees. I mean, listen, top 3 in like the hundreds or thousands I've seen. It was just, I don't know. I'm a very good judge of character, and you just seem like my kind of person. And I'm not saying we're star-crossed lovers. I don't know you and you don't know me.
That's 100% correct. You don't know each other. So why are you doing this? This is not how you get to know someone. This is concerning. Also, you should never admit to seeing hundreds or thousands of dating profile bios. That makes you sound very desperate, that you spend all of your time on these dating apps, perusing it, cruising around, and if you don't match with someone you found attractive or interesting based on their bio, you go out of your way to find them elsewhere to try and talk to them, which is very scary behavior.
I fully accept how strange and unconventional this is. I got a vibe, and I figured I gotta go with it. I was like in a really good mood that day. I don't know. I'm totally winging it. But yeah, a lot of my close friends are women, and everyone unfortunately has a couple stories of having to block someone's number, or an ex just won't leave them alone, or going to the cops. Fuck, dude, I've had to block a few numbers of crazy people that didn't know they were crazy. So I really, really apologize sincerely if this in any way like triggered that, or it was weird or whatever. Kelsey, that's the furthest thing from my intention. I just wanted to say howdy, and I figured if I talk like an idiot, you'd probably feel like I did after I looked at your bio.
It's so close. He's teetering on the edge of self-awareness. Him saying all of this out loud should have led to this eureka moment where he was overcome with immense shame, and he just presses the eject button and deletes the voice memo and doesn't continue this conversation. Like, he's clearly pointing out just how weird all of this is. He's even going into all of his friends are women who, you know, have stories about having to block crazy people who didn't know they were crazy. Like, case in point, what you're doing here, but you keep trying to, like, make it seem like it's not weird, even though you do keep acknowledging how weird it is. So like you're fighting like a battle against yourself in your own messages. You are calling yourself out in front of the person that you're talking to as well. It's really weird.
Oh, okay. It's not fair. You've seen mine, or sorry, I've seen yours and you have not seen mine. If you want, I will screenshot my Bumble bio. I'm quite proud of it. I think it's pretty fucking good. It represents me well. And what else would I want to know if I was you? Gee, I'm like 6 feet tall, pretty damn handsome. I'd give me like a 7. No, like a 7.5 out of 10 looks wise. I mean, to my knowledge, no one has dated me for my abs or my hair. I'm guessing it's because I'm funny and honest and clearly very humble and go to therapy and emotionally intelligent.
It's not a job interview, bro. You don't need to be giving your resume here. Brother, just stop. Please, goodness gracious.
7.5, maybe even an 8. I'm feeling really fucking good lately. I got a tan. I'm up to like 80-second side planks. I hate them, but they're totally worth it for the core. And big feet. So you know what that means, baby doll. Big socks.
You're scaring me. You are scaring me. Why would you do that? What? From way downtown here, he's throwing up a crazy jump shot. He immediately goes into, I've got big feet. You know what that means, baby girl. Oh my lord, please. Have mercy. Have mercy. Why? Why?
What else? I feel like I didn't tell you enough about the bio too. That shrug emoji was just, if nothing else, the fact that like you look like a Disney princess and you use that, I'm like, fuck it, I gotta talk to her. So, oh, I was definitely getting strong Kirsten Bell vibes too, and she's awesome. I don't know if you listen to her husband's podcast, Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard. It's quite the reference, but I have a feeling you might know what that is. One of my favorite episodes, actually, is it Lauren Graham that plays Lorelai? She was on there. Anyway, I am all over the fucking place, as is my job.
You're also all over the place in this one-sided conversation. Now you're shouting out podcasts, talking about fucking shrug emoji again. It's hurting me listening to this. Let this be a lesson to everyone out there watching this. Just don't do anything even remotely like this. Never engage in a one-sided conversation where you have to be the one filling in blanks in a conversation that doesn't really exist.
But I'm sitting here, a middle-aged guy in his car with the AC on and a SpongeBob shirt, and I would call this like the technological version of, you know, when like Noah stops Allie in the Notebook and he's like, I had to talk to you when I see something I want. Yes, I just made a Notebook reference. I don't know. I'm being a total idiot right now. So if nothing else, I figured you'd have a laugh and a smile and you can fucking make fun of me to your friends. I don't know. Now you have a solo podcast for a guy that makes like $6,000 a month on a microphone being an idiot.
He was right. This is something that everyone can laugh about and have a big smile on their face making fun of this whole situation. And then out of nowhere, he drops like his salary from his job, like to flex. He just like slides that in there, which, I mean, it's an interesting strategy yet again. This guy's got a wild book of tricks.
I'm sorry, I don't normally bring up money, but I feel like I created my job out of thin air, and like I just submitted my 2022 taxes, and shit's been getting so much better the last few years, so I'm quite proud of it. That wasn't me trying to impress you, though, with money. I've got way more impressive shit than that. It just slipped out. I hope we can still be friends. Anyway,
Why leave it in there, then? You saying that clearly made you uncomfortable. You could have just deleted this and just tried again. Though I don't think you should have tried again regardless. This shouldn't have happened to begin with. But you yourself just made yourself puke in your mouth when you said your $6,000 a month out loud like that as like a flex, and you still let it ride. You still let this Beyblade rip. Why?
You look like a goddamn Disney princess. The bio completely floored me. I felt like it was written by a friend or something. I just got like strong, like fellow nerd, divergent, super cool, gregarious, happy person vibes. And yeah, so listen, I'm an open book. You probably figured that out like 6 overshares ago. If you have any questions for me, please hit me. Don't be shy. If you want, I'll share my bio. I feel like it's unfair that, I've seen yours and you haven't seen mine. I'm quite proud of my bio.
This entire situation has been nothing but overshares from you. She's not going to ask you any questions. No sane person would. It's not going to happen. This whole thing was a complete catastrophe. And once again, hung up on this fucking bio thing. They're just bios. Most people write them in 10 seconds. I don't know how long he spent, like, finally crafting his, but that is not the norm. I'm sure she didn't spend days coming up with her bio on here. I don't know how it resonated so strongly with this guy, but I bet after this whole song and dance, the woman here immediately just deleted her whole account, or at the very least removed the bio entirely.
Yeah, for the 80th time, I apologize if this was weird or like gave you any bad vibes. That's not my intention. Yeah, I gotta drive home now because I gotta go sing at a bar in Mississauga, and I have 4 more gigs this weekend, and it hurts to talk. So I'm sitting here in my car like a jackass, and yeah, I hope that all made some kind of sense. And if nothing else, please take the sincere compliment. I've seen hundreds of shitty bios, probably thousands, and yours was easily top 3. The only reason I'm not giving you number 1 is because then it would seem like I'm lying. But I'm a very genuine, honest person, and yeah. Actually, on my way home, I'm going to go to the park and feed the ducks. My favorite swan couple, Mr. Plump and Mrs. Plumfett, they just had babies a couple weeks ago. So, like, I'll run up and they recognize me and the babies are squeaking. The hierarchy of, like, waterfowl cute babies, it goes swan babies, then ducklings, and then goslings. But, yes, I may or may not do that 4 to 7 times a week. I'm a huge animal lover. Dogs are better than cats. Cats suck. Sorry if you have cats, but I'm sure your cat is cool.
That was one of the most peculiar lies I've ever heard. You're going to stop at the park on the way home so you can visit your favorite swan couple, Mr. Plumph and Mrs. Plumfett, because they just had babies a couple weeks ago, and they recognize you and get excited and start squeaking when you come by, like you're part of the family, part of the crew, part of the ship. What universe? What the fuck? That's not even something Dr. Seuss would write as like a little goofy side plot in a story. That is the biggest lie I've ever heard, for no reason, for no reason. The quirkiness is overloading. Like the cup runneth over on quirk. Wow.
And yeah, take the compliment. Anyway, apologies if this totally like intruded on your day, opposite of my intention. And yeah, your bio was fucking awesome. I mean, there's a couple other assets I noticed too, but I cannot mention them without sounding like a fuckboy, so I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm sure you've worked very hard to be in the shape you're in, but goddamn, lady. God damn, I would not kick you out of bed for eating crackers. So I figured if you are half as funny as you seem to be and half as cool as I got from that bio, I would say howdy. Yeah, all right. Hope this made you laugh and smile, and you have a fantastical day, Kelsey. Cheers.
And that's the grand finale of this whole situation, and what a journey it was. I find this to be probably the best example of the worst approach to romance imaginable. And like I said, this was not an isolated incident. He's done this before. And he's even used the same lines before. Which is it's so wild. It's so wild. I had to talk about it. I had to. So yeah, that's really about it. See ya.